Avoir.
Okay, we're rolling. Welcome to another episode of FitPet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I am the host of the show. And today I am joined by my spouse, Laurie.
Hello.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the trials that we've been competing at this entire year, if we're talking about you, Laurie. And some exciting stuff has happened. Laurie has had some huge accomplishments with Mr. Buddha. I've had a smaller accomplishment with my little Raven. And yeah, it's been a while since I've been able to sit down and talk with Laurie. So I'm super grateful that we've had this time together. So thank you for humoring me and us and everybody who listens to the podcast, Laurie.
I don't mind being on it.
I know it just takes time to schedule.
I know. But we'll make now. I feel like my schedule's wide open.
Yeah, kind of.
I know. I just feel like I'm not at a trial every weekend now.
Right.
Because I think I was in a trial every weekend for 2 months, I felt like.
Yeah, you were, because I was here.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for covering my assets.
Oh, yeah. It was my pleasure. I think that
I wouldn't have been able to do it.
There's a season for everything, and the fall was my season to cover your assets, and that's fine.
I knew it. I was like, I just need this. I kept saying it to you. I just need this, Leah, and then it'll be over. And then I'll be covering for you so you can go to all these trials.
I think that you like trialing a little bit more than I do, and you were ready to go a little bit more than I am with Raven, so probably will be a while for me, I think. Well, and I don't know if I'm going to do rally.
You never know.
You never know.
It's, it kind of grabs you because you do it, you get through novice really quick, rally novice, and you're like, that wasn't too bad. And like I said, it's pretty approachable until you start to get to your RAE, your Rally Advanced Excellent, where you need 10 legs.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Let's pump the brakes on all this before we really get started, because I wanted to preface just a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Because we didn't play the thing.
We didn't play what thing?
Did we play the intro, or did you already?
I have it muted, so we don't have to listen to it every time.
Fancy.
Yeah, I'm fancy pants. I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, the mood lighting is heavy in here. If I end up falling asleep, Leah put up the Christmas lights.
And I installed a new desk light for myself so I can see.
Oh, that's why it looked. I gotta tell you, this place is.
It's really gussied up, isn't it?
On the up and up. We are living the fat life.
Living large.
Living large.
Living large. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about trials in general, because I know some of you who listen are just average everyday dog owners, and when you hear people talk about trialing, you might not have a very clear idea of what exactly that is. So to paraphrase the last interview that I did on the podcast with Jen Banks, she made a very profound statement that went something along the lines of, dog trainers used to trial their dogs in order to kind of prove that you knew what it was that you were doing. And trialing your dog in obedience specifically is kind of like a litmus test as to whether or not you can teach a dog the major commands. So if we think about what the major commands are, we have sit, stay, down, come, and heel are the 5. And the entry-level obedience trials test those skills. So for trials, we compete in AKC obedience because it is the most available. There are just a bunch of trials pretty much all the time. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, there's trials all the time in our area. There's also UKC obedience and confirmation as well. They're a little bit less available to us. And we also have another dog sport called CDSP, which is obedience as well. It's very similar to AKC obedience, but it's a different organization.
And you can use food in the ring.
Yeah, so CDSP is a little bit different criteria. They allow food in the ring.
Only at particular times.
Yes, at the end of exercises specifically, but it kind of is like a way to motivate your dog a little bit more in the ring if you have trouble. I mean, everybody has trouble motivating their dog in the ring, right? But yeah, it's just a little bit different, has different criteria. And I think all the major protection sports as well, at their entry level, they have obedience tests. Like, for example, the IGP club that Laurie is associated with, They are also a DVG club, which means that they accept all breeds, and the entry-level obedience is very accessible to any dog can compete for a BH if that's something that you really wanted to do. And again, it's testing those 5 basic commands.
And temperament.
And temperament for the BH. And I would go so far as to say, if you are able to go to an AKC trial and be in that environment, it kind of is like a temperament test because it's quite heavy duty. The dogs are very close together. There's a lot of commotion going on once you're in the ring area, I guess you could say. And to be frank, if you have a dog that is people or dog aggressive, like, you're going to be asked to leave right quick because there's just no real room for that type of behavior to display itself. It's too dangerous if you have a dog that has those type of behavioral issues,
or just so nervous that they can't be in a crowd. True.
Yeah, like my little Reuben completely shuts down. I had a really hard time trialing him in AKC obedience. But anyway, I wanted to give a little bit of a prelim to just talk about what trialing is all about. We trial in AKC obedience, and there are 4 levels. There's the beginner novice level, the novice level, also known as companion dog, the CDX, and the utility level. So that's then obviously the criteria gets higher and higher the higher you go in that level. And then Laurie also competes in rally obedience, which is slightly different than like traditional obedience. I don't know if you wanted to describe rally just a little bit.
There's 15 to 20 signs on a course, and each sign has something for the dog to do. It gets increasingly harder as you move up the charts. That's about it. I mean, like I said, once you reach masters and you're twirling all around, you don't even know what's going on. You're like some drunk ballerina. You're like turning and left about turns. And
yeah, so in each one of the signs, there is a task that you have to do. And the task can vary from like have your dog sit in heel position to have your dog sit in the front, have your dog circle around you, have your dog down in motion. I mean, there's like do a 280-degree turn,
send your dog left away.
Send your dog over a jump. Yeah, the list of rally cards is a mile high, and the judge, when they make the course, can decide what cards they want to have out on the course, and the levels go from beginner to advanced.
Yeah, the judges are required to put a particular amount of master signs in, accompanied by like advanced and excellent, but I'm not a judge and I don't know, but there's a mixture of it. There can be a whole mixture in a course.
Right.
But there always has to be, 2 jumps in excellent? Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure Catherine's listening to this like, no, Laurie. She knows all of the rules.
I know. I'm always hesitant to say any of the rules because I'm like, people are
I have to read the book. I have to read the book. Sorry.
Totally. So do you want to explain, like, you and Buddha got you got the top title you can possibly get in rally.
We finally got our championship.
Yay.
After 3 years.
I mean, it's a huge deal to get that.
It's super excited.
As you should be.
And I'm kind of still riding my CDX and my RACH, my rally champion high. And I didn't realize how tired I was, but after I got my RACH, I could like feel the vegetation settling in. I didn't want to move anymore. I was like tired of practicing. I was letting Buddha be a sloth sofa dog. I was just so happy that we were done. I definitely had trial fatigue with rally, and I was worried that if I didn't finish soon that Buddha would kind of peter out on me and not want to keep it going. So I was super excited. You have to go through rally novice, intermediate, advanced excellent, masters, and then you go for your RACH, which it takes forever because you have to do 20 triple qualifying runs. That means you have to do a masters, advanced, and excellent, and you have to qualify in each run. Masters allows you to get champion points, so you have to get a 91 or above. So you may do very well. You may get a 90 on your master's course, but you didn't get any champion points. So that means that I had finished my 20 triple qualifying, which I was relieved to finish that at the end of last year. I cleaned up, got all my ribbons for that, psyched, placed. And then I had to keep doing masters so I could just rack up those champion points. And that is when I became a psycho with points. What the judge was going to give me, like how I had never focused on points as much as I did when it came to masters because I was so close to the end. I definitely started watching how other people were judged across the board. Like normally I would just take my score and run with it, but I'm like, what happened? What did I do that I didn't score higher, or was I judged the same and as other people? Yeah. I became nuts.
Yes.
And
rally will make you nuts if you do it that much.
And then I hit a Rally Masters 4. So that should say how much longer it took me. I had to do like 10 extra runs. Yeah. To get that done.
Yeah. So in general,
super happy it's done.
I think people might assume correctly that rally is a little bit more fun than
it is
your
fun.
Traditional obedience.
Yes. Like I love it.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to do, 20 triple qualifiers per day. So we would end up doing sometimes on a double. If there was a double competition that day in the morning and at night, I would enter both competitions and Buddha would be doing 6 runs a day. And we had some really good high times there where we were like bringing in huge scores. And then I felt like I was like a stage mom. Like that was my number one thing. I was like, oh man, I feel like a stage mom. I feel like I'm making them go, come on, honey, just one more time. Just do it for mommy. And then I had all qualifying runs throughout my whole rally career. And I had gone into the ring in Boxborough, I don't know, like months ago. And Buddha just wasn't having it. And it was right at the start sign that I knew it. And I go, oh my God, like he doesn't care at all. Like I'm not getting him back. And we went to the first sign and I turned and looked at the judge and I said, may I be excused? And Buddha and I just walked out and it was my first non-qualifier after like 96 qualifying runs. And I kind of had that in my head and I was like, and I had many more masters runs to do so I could get my points. And I had that in my head, but I was like, it's all right. Just get it over with. You finally got your non-qualifier. Like, cause I thought maybe I could get to my RACH without having one non-qualifying score. Right. Cause that would be pretty cool. But that didn't happen. I'm kind of glad. Remember when the Patriots won every single game and then they got to the Super Bowl and they didn't
lost
get
against
it?
The Giants,
right.
And
So
it was one giant loss.
so I was glad that that didn't happen.
Yeah, rally is a great sport to get into if you are brand new to competing with your dog, because if you go into the ring for rally novice, your dog is on a leash, and as long as your dog follows you around, you're going to qualify. When you get to the upper levels Laurie, it's like
your dog has to follow through with the signs.
Right. They have to perform, but really it's about like when you're healing with your dog, does your dog stay with you? It's on leash. Unless your dog like completely shuts down and is just like, nope, not doing this. It's a good boost, a morale boost, I think, for people. Like for me, it was a huge morale boost because after really failing with Ruben, a couple years later, I went and got my rally novice title in like 3 tries, and it was great to like kind of end on a high note with him. No, I wasn't going to do any other obedience, but it was it just gets you into the ring, gets you the feel for what's going on, and also the probability of success is high. And then once you get to the upper levels of rally, it becomes a lot harder because your dog is off the leash. So you're doing all of these very complicated moves, and your dog really just has to understand like how to follow you around, and have a basic understanding of the commands, of course. But the difference between rally and obedience is in rally, you can use your hands to lure the dog. You can use your voice to encourage the dog. Again, it's more of like ice dancing versus like figure skating, I guess you could say. It's like, it's much more It's definitely more fun because you can just move with your dog a little bit more fluidly. But I think it also is a little bit of a way for newer people to get involved and just feel more confident. Like for me, for sure, like that was a beauty of rally. And then when you get to the higher levels, like Laurie's talking about, like it's not just enough to qualify if you're going for your rally championship. You have to qualify and score like damn near perfect. And that score is also contingent on what the judge is seeing. And in rally, it's a lot less cut and dry than in obedience. So it tends to be a little bit more subjective just because there's like so much more going on.
That's why
in
I
the
like
ring.
obedience more.
Yeah.
It's not as subjective.
Yeah. Like, the rules going in.
You fail, you fail.
You fail.
You fail, you
pass,
fail.
you pass.
Yep. You pass, you pass. Like if.
Which brings us to our next event. So Rally Championship is also called a RACH, RACH. Huge accomplishment for Laurie and Buddha. Before they got their RACH, the weekend before,
we got our CDX title. And I never thought in a million years I was going to get the CDX title as fast as I did and before my RACH. I had signed up for 5 more trials after the trial I won, because I had that much faith in myself that I was going to get it.
Okay, so let's just back up a little. Again, I'm trying to give like as much context as I can because I know that you're going to get lost if you're a listener and you don't know much about obedience. So the CDX has nothing to do with rally. CDX is more traditional type of obedience. It's that third level of AKC obedience, and it is really hard. So I remember the trial that you passed at. You said like 10 dogs were trialing and only 2.
There were 16 and only 2 passed.
Yeah.
Buddha and another dog.
So we moved from rally where the probability of qualifying is like pretty high as long as your dog doesn't run out of the ring, and you obviously at that point, like you hit intermediate, advanced, like you have an idea of what's going on. We go from having a relatively high probability of success to having like a really low probability of success in the obedience ring.
Like if I don't qualify in rally, I would be pissed, because I was like, my dog knows these. In rally, if I don't get a qualifying score, I'm pissed. In obedience, in my head, I'm here for the ring time. I'm here for, just a dry run, just a run through, because I didn't expect, I just didn't expect to get 3 back-to-back wins.
Yeah, so can you just explain what the process, like when did you start to trial for the CDX?
You have to pass, you have to have 3 qualifying runs to get your title. So you have to do the same thing 3 different times. When did I start?
And just for reference as well, when you do pass one of the tests, we tend to call that a leg. So if you hear somebody say, I got 1 leg of a CD, that means that they have passed the CD once and they have 2 more times to pass before they get the title.
So I started in September at the Cape. The first time, Buddha's healing was excellent the first time. That doesn't always happen. I was shocked. So his healing was excellent. Everything looked good. I mean, I messed up. I got a double command. I gave a double command on the down. And so what happens is you leave your dog on one side of the ring. You walk to the other side of the ring. And you can give a verbal and a hand signal. So when I did the down, I moved my hand. So I had disqualified at that point. But I continued through, and then he didn't do the broad jump. So I did not get a qualifying leg. I was upset because everything just looked so sharp up until that point. But in obedience, when you fail, you fail. You don't do it, you fail. Okay, fine. Tried the second time at the Cape. It didn't go well. It wasn't a good performance, not as much as the first day. And again, he didn't do the broad jump. Like, what the hell? He was looking behind him at the barn doors, right? I told him to hop. And then like 2 seconds later, he looked over at me. He's like, oh, was I supposed to do that? And then he half-assed the broad jump, which, by the way, he's never messed up during obedience. I thought for sure if he was going to mess up, it was the dumbbell. Not retrieving it, but coming back over the jump was another area I was suffering with. what was the third one? Was what, in October? And I was at Silver City. That time, Buddha didn't retrieve the dumbbell over the jump. And then a little dog came in from the other ring. You know, they have the ring gates are like accordion gates with the diamonds, you know, so the holes are rather large. And the dog just like, the dog just left her owner. Dun, 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 dun. Little dog comes running through the accordion gates into the other ring. And the judge looks at me. Now, Buddha had just failed because he did not come back over the jump with the dumbbell in his mouth. And I could tell she was scared because she didn't know me. Normally, you really get to know. I had never trialed under this judge before. And you could tell she was scared that Buddha, would do something just because he was a large dog. And I just bent over and I touched Buddha's face. And we waited for the dog to be apprehended. Had the best time of its life. And then we finished that run. And then Silver City, the run the next day, we did it. He did everything just right. I was so excited. So that was my first passing.
So you did 3 fails before you got 1 pass.
Right. 3 fails before I got 1 pass. And then where was I the second time? Why don't I remember? How could I forget? The Bull Mastiff trial was my third one. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. It's ridiculous.
I feel like at the Cape you passed once, didn't you?
I did not.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I remember.
Silver City you passed once, and then you did.
This is because I black out when I trial, by the way. I don't even know what's happening. I just know it's
I feel like you did 2 at the Wagon Tail place. And
I failed one.
Yeah.
And then Wagon Tails?
I don't know what the place is called in Bedford.
In Westford. So in Westford, I had 2 runs. I passed one day, and then I just did a bumper leg. But I don't know where I got my second CDX leg. I can't believe I can't remember.
So it's like Laurie did 6 trials and passed 3 to get her title.
Right.
Which is a phenomenal ratio.
Fail. You
passed 3 times in a row because everybody keeps saying she passed 3 times.
No, I passed 3 times in a row, and then on the 4th one is when I got my fail, pass.
Yep.
Which is awesome. I mean, my CD took me way longer, guys. I thought the CD was so painful compared to the CDX, and it was because the CD is just so much healing, and it's so boring. And when you go to CDX, you get to do dumbbell retrieves. Your dog gets to just fly across the ring and do a drop on recall, and you get to do hand signals, and your dog gets to go over a broad jump and a regular, and then chase it, and you throw the dumbbell on a flat, you throw the dumbbell on a jump. It's just fun. Once we got past the healing, Buddha had a really great time. Like, the healing is where I lost my points, so I have a lot of work to do with healing. That's really going to be my focus.
Yeah, I would say healing is the hardest thing for everybody because it just requires so much attention from your dog, and half the time you're just struggling because you're in a new environment, and that's something that I have been well aware of. Raven and I work a lot on healing, and I was disappointed the last time we trialed because it just really didn't show. And I mean, it wasn't like horrendous or anything like that, but it was not what I had been working on in practice. So I just have so much respect for people that can have beautiful attention. Their dog has beautiful attention on them. They can do that for the duration. Yeah. And it's such an absolutely difficult but beautiful task to be able to teach your dog. And it's absolutely not easy. It is so challenging. Even dogs that are, born and bred for it. It's something that you really have to train, and then you really have to keep proofing over and over and over again. Like, you have to keep working every day almost on keeping that skill sharp so that when it's time for you to trial, like, you're ready to go. It's just attention healing is really hard.
Yeah. Sometimes you enter that ring, and I mean, my healing during practice is really nice. And sometimes you get in that ring and it's a whole different story. I remember I got my second leg in Springfield. On a whim, I signed up, and I lost rally points when I was at Silver City because, guys, I had a perfect score and I didn't clip the leash on my dog before I walked out of the ring.
You lost 10 points.
I was pissed. I
Yeah.
got no champion points, and I'm like, crap, I have to sign up for more rally trials now. And so...
Oh, how could we forget that? And how could I forget that you went to Springfield?
Right.
You were
So-
gone overnight.
So on a whim, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to sign up for more trials. And then I got, after Springfield trialing twice, I needed one more point for my rock. And just for the hell of it, I was like, well, I'm going all the way to Springfield. I might as well sign up for a CDX run. And I friggin' passed. I was just as surprised as everybody else on the sideline. I'm telling you, it's really something. I was like amazed. Yeah, so make sure you leash your dog before you walk out of the ring. I was so pissed. I almost lost like my sportsmanship at that point because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, you're going to dock me 10 points after you're going to give me a perfect score.
It's brutal.
It was the only time I got like a little
testy.
Yeah, like turned into a Lodato.
Yeah. Don't do that in public.
No.
Just do it around other Lodatos. We get you. It's hard, you guys. It's trialing. And I think the other thing about trialing is that when I say you, I mean us, you have to find something intrinsically enjoyable about it. Like, I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy training my dog. My dog actually really likes it. Raven does enjoy doing it. So that makes it 10 times easier, because with Ruben, he just did not enjoy it. So I knew that it was just like torturing him. But for her, like, she's very gifted at it. And we don't make any money when we trial. We're spending money when we trial. You know, so as dog trainers, like, it's a step away from our business, and it's a step into what we do in our personal time that, yes, gets reflected in our business, because being able to trial your dog and teach your dog all those skills, of course, is going to make you a better trainer. And of course, you're going to be able to turn around and teach your customers and help people that are just working on, you know, regular everyday things. You're going to be able to do those things way better, I believe, if you trial your dog. But it's a personal challenge for us. It's not something that we have to do. It's something that we actually enjoy doing, even though it makes the day that I got my third pass, the day I got my title.
Leah got her beginner novice
Yes, Raven
title.
and I got our beginner novice title. So I trialed Raven and beginner novice, which is the entry level obedience for AKC. Very simple test. So it's all on leash, so nothing off leash. So it's a healing pattern. And then you do a figure 8. Then you do a sit for an exam. So you sit your dog, you go to the end of your leash, and the judge walks over and touches your dog on their head. You return to your dog. Then you sit your dog in the middle of the ring. You leave your dog and you walk around the whole circumference of the ring.
Obviously dropping the leash.
Yeah, you don't have the leash. And then the last exercise is a recall. So you sit your dog.
Not on leash.
Not on leash. You sit your dog. You walk away from your dog. You call your dog to front. Your dog does not have to sit. They do not have to lay down. They don't have to do anything besides be within arm's reach of you when the judge says exercise finished. And that's it. So it's a very accessible obedience test. Once again, I had a great success rate. So I trialed 4 times and I failed once, passed 3 times. But the day that I passed the test, I was so upset when I got home, because we trialed at Masterpiece, which is a place in Franklin. Tons of dog trials happen at Masterpiece, and the floor is notorious for derailing dogs because they do scent work in this room. They do training classes in the room, and the floor is like a porous foam material. It's kind of like even a little springy underfoot. And when I started my healing pattern with Raven, apparently she thought that heel meant I should definitely sniff the ground right now. And it was like, it took me about 10 steps to like regain her attention. And again, like, it's all on leash. So like, I'm attached to her. So as long as I'm not like yanking her along, you know, there's just going to be a point deduction. And she did recover. And by the time we hit like the fast portion of the healing pattern, like, she was with me, but definitely did not make me look good there in the first couple of seconds of the pattern. And I was frustrated. I was really frustrated because I've been working for months on getting a better, you know, heel position and behavior out of her, and working with her, like motivating her. And she does extremely well in practice, and when we go to Auntie Dog and when I bring her out places, and it was just tough to be in that environment. And then the second day I did a bumper leg. So a bumper leg is when you just compete even though you don't need the title. So you just do it for practice. And she was much better for sure. It was a relief. And, but yeah, it's still a challenge, you know, to be in that environment and again, ask for the healing is just so friggin' hard. Like I know that I'm going to want to jump into doing the CD right away because she is more than capable of doing it. But I also know that I really need to proof the healing a lot more before we're going to be ready for the off-leash heal portion of the CD. So I'm not sure when we're going to tackle that, but.
Yeah, I mean, when your dog doesn't perform in the ring the way you practice, it's almost like when it's exactly when a pet parent says, well, they've never done this before. Like when they're in front and they're ready to show off and their dog doesn't do it. And they're like, well, they've never done this before. And I'll always say the same thing. Well, it's a different environment. It's really distracting. There are other dogs around. And, you know, we're really hard on ourselves because we spend just so much damn time training. And I'll say this. I never doubted my dumbbell work because God knows I waited 2 years. Leah and I had looked it up from the time that I got my CD to the time that I trialed for my CDX. All along I was doing rally, but it took me 2 years for me to feel like I could go in the CDX ring. And, you know, I'd say to Pat, our obedience instructor, I'd say, Pat, I know he knows everything. Like I can go into the ring knowing that he knows each piece. And, you know, I was still a nervous wreck. I mean, I was violently ill on my second CDX win, and I was super sick on my last CDX ring. I don't know if it was nerves or I actually was not feeling well, but I mean, I just made myself a nervous wreck about this. I have to calm down. So now I'm just thinking of doing, I was in open A for my CDX. I'm thinking of just doing a few legs in open B so that I keep my ass in the ring. Because I am like, I'm retired. Because I never wanted anything past I never even thought I'd get a CDX. And this is the first time I've had time. Because I was hustling all when I was younger. I didn't have time to go to these trials. And I didn't have the money when I was younger to go to these trials. So I just didn't expect I'd get this far. So I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to consider doing open B to just keep me in the ring, keep me focused. And I wasn't going to do utility, but I bought the articles for it, and we're practicing gloves last night, and Buddha was just thrilled to bits.
Oh, you can totally
to
do
grab
utility.
these damn gloves. He was so excited, and I thought, he's going to run down a child with a glove in its hand, thinking. So I'll do the exercises, but I'm in no rush. So at least there I don't feel any pressure. If Buddha knows the stuff, sure, I'll give it a shot, but it's not. For me now, anything else in AKC obedience would be icing on the cake because I never thought I'd get this far anyway. And like I said, I'm so happy to have a break now, and I am proud of the accomplishment, and I'm taking it. I'm patting myself on the back for this one.
Yeah, it's a gigantic accomplishment, you guys. If you're listening to the podcast and you don't really know much about training,
for me, it is.
It's to get both titles, like the RACH and the CDX, within 1 week of each other.
7 days.
It's just like
so cool.
I mean, just the amount of time that Laura has put into this is like unbelievable, and then to have that ratio of success. And I wanted to circle back to something that she had said. So we did look it up, and it was the spring of 21 that you got your CD with Buddha, and then you didn't start competing a CDX until the fall of 23. So it's like over 2 years, right? And I swear, you guys, Laurie was in the backyard every day practicing the dumbbell retrieve with Buddha because it took him that long to understand that retrieve.
Like, get it and come back. Don't get it and party with it. So then,
and then come back straight and come back front. I mean, it's like he just was not a dog that like to cleanly retrieve from the time that he was a little puppy. Like, he just loved to tug and play and all that. Like, you can tell when a dog is little sometimes, like, okay, this is going to be a struggle. This isn't going to be a struggle. You know what I mean? Like, whether or not the dog, and even now, like, if I bring Buddha to the field and I play chuck it with him, he gets the ball and he doesn't want to bring it right back to me. He literally wants to run around the entire field
before
he brings it back. And so there was that. And then there's the task of like teaching the dog to pick it up in the middle and not on the end, and, not to fling it around. I mean, you worked out there like almost every day for 2 years before you were ready. And then once you were ready, your success rate was so high. Like to trial 6 times and get 3 passes. I mean, there literally, you guys, are people that trial 30, 40 times. Maybe even more.
One judge had said, my wife's been working on it for 2 years. And I'm like, well, that makes me feel better. I waited 2 years to do it.
It's hard. Like these tests are really challenging. And like what Laurie said too, one thing and you're out.
Yeah.
I mean, Catherine can come on the podcast and talk about it too, but like she's been working with her dog Piper in utility, and this dog was beautiful. I mean, she is unbelievable.
From healing to everything.
But it's like if they don't do one little thing on the command discrimination, that's it.
She doesn't do the down.
It's like one little tiny thing. It's just so unbelievably frustrating.
And they're retrieving gloves. You're sending the dog away. You're sending the dog to different jumps with just your hands. You can't speak.
Explain the articles. That's a real...
Oh, the articles. You have dumbbells, and they drop them in the middle of the floor. All these... There's leather and wood. You can get metal too. But leather and wood. And the dog has... You and the dog turn around while the judge puts or the steward puts the dumbbells on the floor. Then you turn around with the dog, and the dog has to scent the dumbbell, and then
they have to scent the dumbbell that you touched. So as the handler, you touch one of the dumbbells,
roll it between your hands,
and then you drop it in the bag, and then the judge takes the bag and they drop it in the middle of the ring, and then your dog needs to leave you and go and search and find the dumbbell that you touched, and bring it back to you,
and sit in front and stare at you lovingly. She does all those things. I mean, there were people who did their CDX run, and it was flawless. More flawless than Big Boo and I. But a dog wouldn't do the broad jump in the end. Bam. Fail. It's 200 points for the whole thing. And, the person could have a 198. Maybe they lost a few points here and there for healing. Dog doesn't do the broad jump. Fail. This other lady... Oh my God, her dog is perfect all the time. In practice in the ring, I see her all the time. She goes to do the CDX. The dog heels like a soldier, head up the whole time. It's a golden retriever. Lady puts her dog in a sit because she's going to do a command discrimination, goes to the other side of the ring. This dog, who is a soldier dog, falls down on the ground on her back and starts wiggling around. Woo woo! She's having the time of her friggin' life. Her mom was at the other end of the ring, and disaster was occurring with her golden retriever on the other side. This woman's face, oh my God. I thought she was going to explode like a cartoon. And I go, oh shit. And then I look and I go, oh, what if today's opposite day? If this lady failed, I'm definitely going to pass. And I passed. And I think like Jamie said something like, oh, congratulations. And I said, I go, thank you. I am relieved, surprised, and happy.
As you should be.
I was like, today's opposite day. Woo woo.
You just never know. Actually, at that place, Silver City, the owner, Joanne, she's cool. The most hilarious sense of humor. And she hangs a sign when you're walking in. And if you NQ, she said, join the, quote, my dog's never done that before club.
Yeah.
Because it happens to everybody. You're in the ring and it's like, oh my God. I even heard one woman with a Rottweiler, she had qualified for the CD. So the CD, you do your healing, you do your figure 8, you do your off-leash healing, you do your recall. And then if you qualify, so if you do all those things, after everybody else has competed, you have to go back into the ring and you do your long sits and downs. So you do a 1 minute sit and then you do a 1 minute down. Sit your dog, go to the end of your leash, wait a minute, return, down your dog, same thing. And her dog had messed up one of the exercises, sit her down, I'm not sure. And she literally was going to the crane. She's like, oh my God, you've never done that before. And it's like, we all do it, I had seen her qualifying routine CD and the dog looked absolutely beautiful. And then, when they're in the ring for the long sit, maybe she just decided she didn't want to do it, laid down or whatever. And it's at the end of the day, they're dogs, right? So it's like you have to take that into consideration when you're beating the crap out of yourself for the things that you did do or you didn't do. So yeah, it's one of those things where if you're having a bad day, you can't make it the end of the world. I definitely made it the end of the world a couple Saturdays ago. I was not in a good mood, poor Laurie.
I thought that I just stayed quiet though. I was just letting you kind of filter through all the emotions you were having because I know what happened during my CDX but everyone goes through their own battle, and sometimes hearing like, hey, that happens to me too, isn't always the thing that will make the other person feel better. But, I have so many handling things to fix. There's so much to work on, and I really had to put that aside so that I could appreciate, because I do not. I beat myself up. So it's nice to have to just say, shut up, Laurie, and appreciate this win. And of course, you will have things to work on, and that's fine.
I think it's super humbling too, because one of the things that I value in life is being able to put work into something and then seeing the results of the work. And working with dogs will take that idea and just shove it in the sand real quick, because you can work so hard on something and one day you might see the results of it and the next day you might not. And it's frustrating because you're like, I worked so hard on this. I should see the results. And the moral of the story is your dog doesn't understand the difference at all. So it's like you have to just take those good days with the bad days and keep training for everything. I think that's the moral of the story. Like, you just have to train for everything. And the hardest thing, I think, for us, actually Pat was talking about it too, is just getting into different training environments. Because she made the comment the other day, like, there's just groups of us and we should just train like anywhere and everywhere and go to different places. And that's the biggest thing, I think, for this stuff, is just getting your dog into different environments and running through the routine so that they start to understand that the commands, the behaviors, they're not contingent on where they are. It's a command and it's a behavior. So
things just aren't as accessible. I feel like in every aspect back in the day, I mean, people would just come over your house and visit. Training was just all the time and not formal, and you want to go, you want to hang out. It was just part of the thing. It was just part of life where you just stop by and visit somebody or go and train. Or I don't know if people's lives were less busy or what, but we always had time for one another. Everything wasn't so scheduled all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of lost that along the way. I mean, it's just the way life is these days. But I'm very
Let's bring it back. Let's bring back the organic training. Come on, Lar.
I'm very grateful for Pat, and I'm so grateful for Catherine and even Julia, who we fight like she's my little sister. But Catherine, she was helping me fill out forms in the beginning, and Liz from Auntie Dog was got me into rally. And I now when I train other people, I can hear what Liz tells me, the advice she gives me. I incorporate what Pat says all the time, even though she doesn't think I'm listening to her, which I am. So I'm very happy for it. I had a lot of people. If you didn't cover my ass, I wouldn't be able to go to the trials. Yeah.
And we have a really great little group of our own clients that have been trying new things. We got Lily and Bella and Johanna and Juno working on different things. Super proud of Lily and Bella on their way to getting their beginner novice title. Juno got hers. She's working on her CD. She got 2 legs. It's just unbelievable, see people that are totally just normal, like not dog people, get into it and also be successful at it. I'm like so proud of them, and it's fun to be with them too, because when you go to a trial, you're there for, if you're not there all day, you're at least there all afternoon. So it's really nice to be with people that are cool. That that are there to support you, that you can just stare at if you don't think that you did well. But if we didn't trial, I don't think that, we wouldn't have customers that were trialing. So no, definitely not.
People like Pat and Catherine and Liz, they added to our business because we started trialing, and then we serve as an example. And, we have Ray, Bella, Frankie. Those are therapy dogs as well. So Lily was just a normal dog owner, and then she went and got her therapy dog title, and then she, threw herself into the rally ring, and then she got 2 back-to-back wins with her beginner and novice. Johanna and Juno, they did dock diving, and what are they now? Rally?
I don't know where she's at in rally, to be honest.
Rally
with you.
intermediate,
Yeah.
I believe.
We want to do a little bit of interviewing with our owners too. They do cool stuff with dogs, maybe season 2.
Even how they felt about,
But I think it's a cool topic.
yeah, how they felt going into the ring, but also how they felt when they heard various dog training advice. So I think that would be nice for other parents to listen to if you felt a particular way about certain tools and then heard about their experience hearing about the tools and choosing whether or not they were going to use them. So I know that's off topic of...
No. It's good to like brainstorm, even if it's out loud and being recorded, because why the hell not? If you made it thus far into the show,
maybe we're just boring you
off the cuff.
Hopefully
we're not boring. I think that's a good recap though of everything that we've been up to this fall. I mean, once again, just can't reiterate it enough. Like, congratulations to Laurie and Buddha. Super duper happy for them and excited. And those
congratulations to you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I am happy to announce that I did achieve all my goals for Raven and I this year. I did not achieve all my goals for Ruben and I this year, if we're being honest. I do want to go through and talk a little bit about the goals that we had leading into 2023, because I know last year we sat with Melissa, I think in December, and we talked about goals for the upcoming year. And this year has been kind of a big year for me, just like personal growth wise, like getting some of my ducks in order, making some better decisions for my health and stuff like that. But I also was pretty streamlined with what I wanted to accomplish with the dogs and with my business. And I think that I did pretty well if I'm looking back at achieving some of that stuff. But just to talk about Raven, I wanted to do the CGC test, which I did with her back in the summertime. I wanted to do bird and gun intro with the retriever stuff, which we did, get her picking up birds, and then get her desensitized to gunfire, and both of those things she is cool with. In fact, now she hears guns and gets all freaking excited. And then yeah, which is going to be really interesting to see, because I'm also kicking around the idea. I've got a scorecard for her through DVG to maybe try to practice to do the BH with her, the obedience test for IGP. I certainly will not do anything else with the sport, because she doesn't bite anything, and I don't know if I want to do tracking, but I know that she could do the obedience. But if we did do the obedience and IGP, it's so interesting because the dog has to remain like completely calm when they hear the gunfire, and when she hears gunfire, she thinks that things are going to be falling from the sky, and so she starts looking and getting excited, and it's just a little bit of a conflict with gunfire in different sports. But she's certainly desensitized to gunfire, and I wanted to do the beginner novice title, and so we achieved all 3 of those goals. So that means that I need to set some harder ones for next year. So I'm going to be brainstorming next month to figure out what I think would be realistic goals, but at the same time, like, reaching a little bit. Did you have any other goals you wanted to achieve with Buddha this year? I mean, I feel like those 2 things are like
year,
huge.
No.
Yeah.
I'm done this year. I'm taking a nap. Me and Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I'm taking a break.
Seriously.
Yep. I feel much calmer these days. I feel like I finished some huge projects too. Like, once I got back from competing, I started to look around. I'm like, oh my God, I needed to order things for work. I needed to start focusing on my people more. And I remember I'd have the classes after I finished, and I was like, well, you're in trouble now, because all my attention is on you guys now. So I caught up on the major things. I have a few more things to tie up, but yep, next year I'll do other things with Buddha.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well,
done for now.
I thank you so much for tuning into the show. Very much appreciate your time, attention, and your listening ear. I hope that you've been enjoying the Friday episodes of the podcast. I'm trying to make them cohesive, and thus far, the few messages I've got via social media and text and stuff, let me know that you're listening and that you're enjoying it. So if you do listen and enjoy the podcast, feel free to rate and review the show. Also, throw it up there on your socials so more people can listen to the show if they feel so inclined. Laurie, thanks so much for sitting with me this evening.
It was nice to be back.
I'm glad you didn't fall asleep with my mood lighting.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we got to do at least one more before the new year.
No,
Deal?
no, we have to do, yeah.
All right. Well, every Friday I'm releasing
I'm
one,
ready, Leah.
All
I'm
right.
ready. What do you want to talk about? Recalls? How no one listens? What?
Sit, stay, downhill, off, no, come, what?
Do it down.
Sit, stay, do it down. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.